Do 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 do. Who would have been the Godfather?
Oh, we got a bunch of fun things here of what casting would have been. Um. Okay, so before Marlon Brando, the studio wanted Ernest Borgain to be Don Corleone.
Who?
Ernest Borgain, he was an actor in like the 50s and 60s.
Ernest.
Okay, you may remember him as this role.
Evil! Evil! Get out. No way.
Ernest Borgain was the voice of Mermaid Man in SpongeBob.
I knew that. The moment you said that, I knew who that was. Yeah, I was like, wait, I heard this name before. Yeah, really? He was gonna play the Godfather?
Yeah, the studio really wanted Ernest Borgain to be the Godfather.
Interesting.
And others who were considered were George C. Scott,
Yeah.
Richard Conte,
Okay.
Anthony Quinn, and Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
To be Don Corleone.
Yeah.
But Ford Coppola had two choices in mind. Laurence Olivier and Marlon Brando.
Really?
Like his first choice was actually Laurence Olivier was actually Brando's first choice
To play the Godfather.
to play Don Corleone. But
interesting.
at the time, Coppola reached out to Laurence Olivier's agent, and Olivier was ill at the time, so they passed on that. And there was actually months of a debate between Francis Ford Coppola and Paramount actually went back and forth for months. Because Francis Ford Coppola wanted Marlon Brando, the studio wanted Ernest Borgain. And when they went through the screen test, here's something interesting. Coppola did not want to offend Brando and stated that he needed to test equipment in order to set up a screen test. For makeup, Brando stuck cotton balls in his cheeks and put shoe polish in his hair to darken it and rolled up his collar. Coppola placed Brando's audition tape in the middle of the video, so the audition tape. The executives liked Brando and allowed Coppola to cast him, but there was one condition. Brando had to accept a lower salary, had to take a pay cut.
Oh, boy.
And because at this time, everyone thinks that Marlon Brando was like a big star in the 50s, which he was.
Yeah.
But at this time, he was in movies that were kind of crappy, that were box office bombs.
Okay.
And here's something. Stanley Jaff, who was the president of Paramount at the time,
Yeah.
when Coppola said that he wanted Marlon Brando, Stanley Jaff hit the roof telling him, Francis, as long as I'm president of Paramount Pictures, I must tell you, under no circumstances will Marlon Brando appear in The Godfather.
Really?
He said, as president, I wish to no longer even waste time even discussing it. So yeah, but it was between Laurence Olivier and Marlon Brando, and the studio actually wanted Ernest Borgain. But there's some more other fun facts here. To play Michael Corleone, the studio, Francis Ford Coppola wanted Al Pacino, but the studio was not to. But the studio did not want Al Pacino because, again, the studio wanted big stars.
Right.
And Al Pacino only was in small films at the time.
That's true.
He wasn't originally he was actually originally sorry, I'm losing my train of thought tonight. I apologize.
You're right, bud.
Yeah. But they did not want Al Pacino. They originally wanted, here are the names that were thrown around: Dustin Hoffman, Martin Sheen,
Okay.
Martin Sheen, James Caan, who later got cast as Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
Burt Reynolds was offered the role.
Wow.
But he turned it down because when Marlon Brando was in the film, Marlon Brando threatened to quit if Burt Reynolds came on board.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I guess there was some bad blood between them.
I guess so.
And Jack Nicholson was actually offered the role as Michael.
Wow.
But, he felt like this should be, he felt like it should, because, cultural appropriation was even a problem back then too, am I right?
Yeah.
But
does it say anything about Frank Sinatra? Because I we have that pulled up here, and also some people are asking about that on the chat board.
No. Frank Sinatra as the Godfather. Well, here are time. I don't really see anything.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
But also, the studio's big choices for Michael were either Warren Beatty or Robert Redford. And also they wanted Ryan O'Neal.
Okay.
So I think this is like one of the rare times that the director pretty much overruled the studio.
Rightfully so, because it was it's widely regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time. So
yeah, because and also Robert De Niro was actually given the part of Paulie Gatto, the big fat guy.
Yeah.
And he actually auditioned for Sonny. Go on YouTube. There's actually audition footage of him doing that. But eventually, first they wanted to cast, what's that guy? Carmine Cardi. But okay, hold on, I'm reading this. Coppola still pushed for Pacino to play Michael after the fact, and Evan, as long as Caan played. Well, Okay. Carmine Cardi, who was, I'm just making this up as I go along, folks. So
You're good.
still, but to play Sonny, they wanted I'm trying to get some more information here. Please let me. Okay. Was actually they were actually casted actor Carmine Cardi as Sonny, but in the fight with because I want to say I think that was the deal. I think Coppola wanted Cardi, but and the studio made a compromise because at this time Francis Ford Coppola was still fighting for Al Pacino to play Michael, and the studio wasn't budging. And I think they really liked James Caan. And what they said, okay, we'll make you a deal. You can have Pacino as Michael, but we want James Caan as Sonny.
Gotcha. All right.
And Pacino and Coppola said, okay, fine. And because Pacino was actually originally supposed to be in a movie called The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight.
Mm-hmm.
And he dropped out, and then Robert De Niro came into that movie.
Okay.
But he did play Don Vito in Godfather 2.
Fair point.
So, which he actually won an Oscar for.
Yeah.
And okay. You know who was actually and I actually heard somewhere that Stallone was supposed to be in it too.
Really?
He was supposed to be I think he was supposed to be Paulie or something. But yeah, and okay, another thing. I think this is just a small thing, but I think there might be bigger things in here. Casting.
Well, Bill's looking that up really quick. I just want to point out something that was brought up to me in the chat board about Frank Sinatra almost being cast as Vito Corleone. Let's not forget, guys, Frank Sinatra, despite being a big singer in the 40s and 50s and into the 60s as well, he also did some acting as well. And the fact that it says that he could have been Vito Corleone is amazing to me personally. I can't believe that he was actually even considered to act as the Godfather himself, which is because he was such an elegantly amazing singer. I mean, who would have thought that he would have been a contestant to be the Godfather himself? I didn't know about this, and thank you to Hero of Time for pointing that out in the chat board. That this was a possibility back in the day for Frank Sinatra to play Vito Corleone. I did that. Thank you for pointing that out. Seriously, it's a big surprise that I had no. I mean, I knew he acted. I didn't know he was off for this role though. So, Bill.
Okay.
Fantasy question.
Go.
Frank Sinatra was cast as Vito Corleone. How's your reaction to that? Back in the day.
What do you think?
How do you think Frank Sinatra would have done as Vito Corleone?
I think he might have done a good job. I don't know.
I mean, he's Italian anyways.
Yeah, well, Marlon Brando was an Italian, and look what happened.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think he would have done a decent job.
I think so too. I think he definitely he pulls off. He's Italian, number one. So I mean that's your given. It's in his blood. But also, besides from being a great singer, I mean, him as actually cast as Vito might have been something really cool. I mean, thank you again to Hero of Time for pointing that out to me. That would have been that's a big win on your part there, Hero of Time. Thank you so much. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it fits this little nice thought in your head. But could you really see Frank Sinatra, the chairman of the board, as literally the chairman of this board? You know what I mean? It would have been something else.
Been interesting.
It definitely would have been. And also Orson Welles. For those of you who are not familiar with Orson Welles, just a really quick thing. He directed Citizen Kane, which is widely regarded as one of the, if not the greatest movie of all time, from 1941 or 41 or 42, I forget. But Citizen Kane's a great movie. Check it out. Seriously, it's fantastic. But Frank Sinatra's Vito Corleone, I could see it.
Maybe that would have worked. What have everyone thought of the other choices? Like, I know some of the other ones aren't really that well known, but
like Paul Newman or Anthony Perkins and Sonny Corleone.
Oh, I don't think so. Actually,
No, he doesn't look the part. I mean, for those of you who are listening, you're not gonna be able to see this. Just Google Godfather alternative casting, and there you'll find articles about it.
What else is on? Like, let's breeze through that just really quick. Martin Sheen as not as much as I can't really see him as Michael Corleone, but maybe as Tom. Maybe. Keep scrolling. This is interesting.
Sure, let's go. Anthony Perkins from Psycho.
I can't see it.
I can't see it either. Paul Newman is Tom Hagen.
Maybe.
And then Frank Sinatra's Vito Corleone. We just talked about that. Winona Ryder.
Oh, that was the one I was talking about. I was going to get to now. Winona Ryder was actually originally casted to be Michael's daughter, Mary.
Right.
And you know who was also who was originally cast before Winona Ryder? Julia Roberts
as Mary? No way.
Mary Corleone. But she had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts.
Oh, that's all right.
You know who wanted to play the role? Here's a fun one.
Who?
Madonna.
Oh my God! Wow, I don't know how that would go, but that's me.
Madonna. You know, I'll send this to you later, JT. If there's a Family Guy joke about Madonna, I'll show you later.
Yeah, just show me when we're done off camera, whatever.
Francis Ford Coppola, when Madonna wanted to play the role, Francis Ford Coppola basically told her she was too old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then Schaefer was actually set to audition.
Oh, really?
But unfortunately, she was murdered. And then they had Winona Ryder, but she dropped out of the film at the last minute because she basically had a panic attack.
Oh, geez.
Which eventually led to her being in Edward Scissorhands. Because from last year, I made a joke that Edward Scissorhands was the movie that got Winona Ryder out of Godfather 3.
Which is true.
And then comes with, as most people will call, one of the worst casting choices in film history. Francis Ford Coppola goes to his daughter, Sofia Coppola.
Yep.
And people were pissed.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because they accused Francis Ford Coppola of nepotism.
Right.
They accused him of nepotism, and yeah. So okay, you know what? I'm sorry, JT. I feel like I'm taking things over here, but I'm now just very curious.
You're fine.
Since we talked about 1 and 3, I'm kind of curious if there were any ones in any alternative castings in Godfather 2.
Let's look at I mean, did you have any in mind already or no?
I'm just reading right now. James Cagney was offered a part by Coppola, but he got turned down.
Okay.
Yeah, God, this kind of looks airtight. They probably had everything they probably had everything, airtight. So
Yeah. I have one more pick if you're ready to go.
yeah, I'm ready to go.